What's good with the YouTube? You already know. Big Flocka with a convict's perspective. And I'm going to smash, dash, and slide on through. Little bit of energy, man, because it's been cracking a lot lately, man. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm, man, and get this moving forward, man. So we're going to talk about a recent person who recently pled guilty to the fourth person who's pled guilty in the recent indictment, man. That's a couple years old. That was revolving around the alleged Aryan Brotherhood members, as you guys said, alleged, and one alleged Mexican mafia member, Mosca and Yandel and all those cats, man, all those very influential people that were considered to be influential, basically members of these organizations, man. I don't really go off too many titles, man, but this is kind of interesting, man, because they're trying to get them for running the huge multi-state drug ring, right? And they're trying to get that both these organizations were working together. You know what I mean? Travis Burhop, he decided to plead guilty on September 7th. He pleads guilty to racketeering and drug charges. In exchange for his pleas, prosecutors have agreed to seek a low-end sentencing under federal guidelines, but haven't publicly revealed how much prison time they will seek. So this is what I think. See, within the federal system, they have a certain structure of how they sentence you, and it goes by your past record. And then they have basically a scale. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be sentenced to within the scale by the judge, unless you do some enormous work for them, man, or beneficial. Then they can sentence you outside the scale. You know what I'm saying? But it has to do with your past crimes, your convictions, and whatnot. It doesn't go just off the case. It's a combination of both, right? So in this case, like I said, Burhop was the fourth person to plead guilty, right? And it was 15 members or associates of the Aryan Brotherhood and one alleged member of the MA. They charged him with 5 murders and 4 additional murder conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? So the plea agreement signed by Burhop says that he plotted with 2 alleged Aryan Brotherhood commissioners, Pinot native, at least from Pinot, Ronald Dean Yandel and Danny Troxel, to murder Aryan Brotherhood member James Mickey. The agreement is similar to the one that Donald Popeye Maza, the co-founder and one-time leader of the skinhead gang called Pinai, that is closely affiliated with the Aryan Brotherhood, as you already know. Maza admitted to plotting to kill fellow gang member Michael Thumper Tripp, who was warned by authorities. In both agreements, the federal prosecutors gave Burhop and Maza an excuse that they agreed to aid and abet murders because they were scared of being next on the chopping block, but they really didn't want to. So basically what the federal prosecutors allowed them to do was say that they didn't want to do it. They played it off just to get pretty much, it's like cutting them a deal. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure now that, to me, if I was a defensive attorney, I would attack that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like you're giving them something in exchange for it. You know what I mean? Anyways, in order to gain interest into the AB and avoid the repercussions for not killing Mickey, Burhop agreed to arrange the murder of Mickey at Calipatria in 2016, even though his heart was not in the killing. But for someone whose heart wasn't in it, Burhop appears to have taken an active role. Exactly. The plea agreement says that in conversations on contraband cell phones, Burhop engaged in discussions where he floated possible hitmen and talked about Mickey's current location. When Mickey was taken off Calipatria prison yard and put into a protective custody unit, Burhop lamented to Yandel and Mickey was likely out of reach. Oh, man. Before the plot went through, Yandel and Truxell allegedly balked at whether Burhop had the skills to arrange and carry out the hit. I guess we're going to find out, huh? I guess they call all this on wiretaps. Mickey was allegedly targeting for the killing for showing cowardice and stealing money from the gang. After the alleged murder plot surfaced, he was transferred to the segregated housing unit in Pelican Bay, but has since been released on parole. Mickey had been serving life under the 3-strike law and was at one point listed as a shot caller for the gang. Burhop also admitted to conspiring with Mexican Mafia member Michael Mosca Torres and several Aryan Brotherhood members and associates to distribute methamphetamine and heroin around the United States, including Washington, Missouri, and California. Included in the plea agreement is an indicted where a courier was intercepted in Las Vegas, Nevada, while driving across the country with 4.8 pounds of meth. Wow. On Burhop's orders. Burhop and his co-defendants were indicted in June of 2019. The case is still tentatively set for trial next March, but a new development could change all that. Prosecutors have recently revealed that they are seeking a new indictment, which could include more charges and or additional defendants sometime in the next 30 days. So you guys hear that? They could be filing new charges against the Aryan Brotherhood and add on to this indictment. Now, is that going to involve other groups? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, one of the defendants, Pat Brady, is proceeding with a lawsuit against the Sacramento County Jail, which accuses the county sheriff of violating their rights in myriad ways. The suit alleges that the defendants were kept in solitary confinement all but 1 hour per week and publicly revealed that attorney-client meeting booths were being secretly videotaped. I believe it, too. Since Brady's suit, the defendants have been transferred from Sacramento Jail to Sacramento State Prison, where several of them were housed when the alleged crimes occurred. So they just sent them right back to where they were being housed. Federal prosecutors have indicated that they may seek the death penalty against at least one defendant. Despite President Joe Biden's voiced opposition to the death penalty during the 2020 campaign, two other defendants, an alleged drug courier named Samuel Keaton and Kirsten DeMar, a woman accused of helping a crooked lawyer smuggle contraband to incarcerated Aryan Brotherhood members. I did one on that. That's the one that her man, I think, committed that hit for them in Salinas Valley, and she just played it off like they threatened her to do it. And I think one of the AB members pretty much said that she had nothing to do with it. They've also entered pleas. Keaton's scheduled sentencing state has been postponed several times. So yeah, this is just a typical indictment, man. Seems like the Aryan Brotherhood kept it moving, man. They were doing a lot of things, man. Or alleged Aryan Brotherhood members, man. You know, I'm gonna say this without going into too much details about them. I've never known too much, details about their structure, about their laws, about their, do they have a certain constitution? Do they have a certain banking system? You know what I'm saying? I do know they've been conducting illicit activities for a long time, man. And in the white underworld, which is the criminal element out there in California, they pretty much are the top dog, period, man. And they're not even that deep, but they've been involved in so much stuff, man, and have such a treacherous, name in all the things that they've done that everybody kind of fears and respects them at the same time, man. Within their faction. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how California politics operate also on the streets. You're going to have those over here. They're going to associate more with their own people. They may have some business deals going on, but it's limited. Same thing with every other group. It's like you're in your own world out there on the streets. It's kind of a trip. I'm waiting to see where this indictment goes, man, because there's been a lot of sub-indictments off it. You also had that female that was out of Cocoa County that was pretty much running operations that they allegedly claim. This is just a random thing that keeps on happening. Indictment after indictment, man. Like, there's a saying in recovery. You keep on doing the same thing, expecting different results. It's what? Insanity. And I see each group doing the same thing. And I've always voiced that before when I was on the streets and what we were doing. Like, why aren't we doing this instead? This is a lot more safer than as opposed to running the dope, dropping it off. Because eventually, man, you're going to be put in a position that you may get caught up, man. As well as you sometimes can hide your product, making moves. To me, the end game isn't even worth it like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Once you get older, doing a little time for a dope possession case, man, that's some wasted years right there, man. And, selling dope's the same thing nowadays. Very few people are really getting it, if you know what I mean. And then the other ones are just, they have their own personal struggles at times, man. Either they're using or they're spending the fucking money. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a common thing, too, was people getting in front of work and taking off, man. And then you have to go pretty much deal with it, man. I don't know how these groups were... what I'm kind of wondering is how they were doing business out of state. Does that mess up or interfere with what the federal commission has going on? I always wanted to know, because it seems like the AB and the federal system, they've been able to recruit a lot of people from throughout different states, man. And I wonder how does that play with the California AB doing business in Washington and New Mexico, Arizona, Vegas. Does that create issue or conflict? I don't know. It's just one thought I had, man. Anyways, yeah, quick address about a quick indictment, man. You know, pretty much it's so much worse. They're basically saying that he flipped and took a deal, and he's probably going to cooperate if they request him. That's what I'm getting out of it. It doesn't say it, but it's pretty self-evident. I mean, anyways, boy Flacco, I'm gone.